Hi, let's understand four new functions which will help you to format or can be used uh, on any kind of text or characters in your Google Sheets. So these are text functions that we are looking at. And the four functions that we will be looking at or the formulas that we will be looking at are split, repeat, value, and exit. So our concentration are on these four formulas today. Let's start with the first one, split. Now this function divides any text around a specified character or a string and puts each fragmented word or character into a separate cell in the row. So what it means is, suppose I have this text which has to be divided, which I have marked in yellow, and I want each word which which has been separated by ampersand to be available in each cell on that row. So how do I do that? Let's use the split formula. So the formula stands like this. So I'll write is equal to split, open brackets, text. So this is the text that we need to split. So I'll select the text, the yellow colored cell, comma, then is the delimiter. Delimiter means the character by which you want to split the cell. So I will take ampersand as of now because I want to delete and have I love Google Sheet in separate cell on the same row. So I'll say ampersand. So this is where I want to split. So I will be separate, love will be separate, Google will be separate, and sheet will be separate. Yeah, I can use any character in spite of ampersand, depending on what kind of text that you are using. Yeah. So I'll divide by ampersand. So this formula is enough. Split by each, remove empty text. These are optional thing, but we'll see to it in or in this session itself. So I'll just close the brackets and I'll say enter. Yeah. So each word has been separated, leaving the ampersand aside or the delimiter aside, which is in between. So it will not consider the delimiter because we have used it as a separator. Yeah. Now, in spite of ampersand, I can use O, which is a character in this string, entire string. I love Google Sheets. So if I do that, yeah, it has got three different words in each cell, which has been divided based on O. So I have, you see in the formula, I have added O as the delimiter, which it has to separate. And if you go to the yellow cell, O is in love and in Google as well. So it has not considered both the O which are in Google and it has directly separated from GLE ampersand sheet. So it split will divide each word based on the delimiter. Yeah. Now what does the next optional character does? Now the split by each is an optional character, whether or not to divide text around each character contained in the delimiter or not. So usually it is true. By default, it is true. So it gets divided. I'll put ampersand again. So it gets divided by each character. If I put false, it will not have an effect as such because it's going to divide by ampersand, which is not going to make much effect. The major effect that you will see is in the next part of the split formula. So I'll keep it as true as of now. I'll keep this as true. The next thing is very important, like remove empty text. So by default, this is also true. Yeah, if there is any empty text, it will remove it. So suppose I do not have love in between. There are two ampersands over here in yellow. The second and the third character are ampersand. Yeah, I hope you all people are able to see. So the second and the third character are ampersand, and there is nothing in between. And if I ask to divide split the entire sentence by ampersand, since the last one, remove empty text, is true, it will not put any space in between itself. But if I make it false, yeah, yeah, it has considered the empty space and it has added an empty cell in between. Yeah. So this is how you use split if you have to split any kind of data uh, in your kind of information that you have. Yes. So splits divide text around each specified character. Mostly I use it for, suppose I have my name and I want to split Nilesh and Desai separate. The first name and the last name, I want to separate them. So I use split like this. I say comma and having a space, since there is a space in between Nilesh and Desai, and I'll close the bracket. So here I have the first and last name separately. We usually use it for addresses as well, where the addresses are divided by comma. So suppose, so if we have an address which is divided by comma, I'll have an comma delimited and I can have each a city, state, pin code, everything be separated in different cells. So it is used to clean the data that is available. Yeah. So this is all about split. But what you really need to notice that the character or characters to split the string around will not be contained in the result themselves. Yeah, that's what I told you. If I want to split the cell based on ampersand, ampersand will not be available in the cells that are being splitted. Yeah. So the delimiter will never be considered. So as I said, if I would have considered O here over here as a delimiter, say ampersand is available, but O is not available anywhere. Yeah. So this is how you use split in Google Sheet. Let's move on to our next function for today. That is repeat. Now repeat is a very simple formula as itself you can understand. It returns a specified text repeated a number of times. Yeah. Now, what is the syntax? So I'll say is equal to repeat. I'll just type in once again. Is equal to repeat. I will select the text. Suppose I want to repeat Google. Yeah. I want to repeat it 3 times. Yeah. The second is the number of repetitions. So I'll say 3 times. And as soon as press enter, yeah, you will find Google being repeated 3 times over here. If I repeat, say 5 times, it will repeat 5 times. Then see this. Yeah. So basically, it returns a text the number of times you have mentioned here. Now you need to be very careful is if the number of repetitions uh, and the character. So each character, if I say these are the characters, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I have taken it 6 characters 5 times, so there are 30 characters. But suppose this 30 characters gets extended to 32,000 characters, then it will return an error. So repeat function has a limitation of 32,000 characters. Yes. So you need to be very careful when you are using repeat. Yeah. Usually I do not use this function because it is hardly being used in data analytics as such. So I do not have a practical scenario of it. Yeah. But the important thing that you need to note about it is repeat does not insert spaces. So the if I say repeat, you have seen that there is no space in between each repeat that has happened in Google. Yeah. If spaces are desired, a space must be appended to the end of the value of the text. So suppose I want to enter a space in between. So what I'll do, I'll go to the character or the text which I want to repeat and add a space at the end. Yeah, as soon as I add the space, yeah, automatically the space gets added. Yeah. So you have to do or add anything in the initial or the base characters or base word itself in order to incorporate it in the repeat function. Yeah. So there is no space in between. You cannot add that. The formula itself doesn't allow. Yeah. The resulting return value from a repeat will have at least one trailing space, which is maybe removed with a trim. So there will be at least one trailing space at the end. So suppose if I see here, I'll try to copy it and paste it as value, which you have seen in a previous lecture, how to do a value paste special. Yeah. So I can have this thing. Clear? So this is how you use repeat in text functions. Let's move on to the value function. Now, this is one of the important function has been used quite a number of time. Uh, what it does is convert a string in any of the date, time, or number format that Google should understand into a number. So it creates anything like if you have a string, if you have a number, or if you have a date into a number actually. So suppose let's see the syntax. So I'll say is equal to value. Yeah. I'll open the brackets. Yeah. And suppose I have a string. Anything that you put into quotes is a string or a character. Even though if I put a number, yeah, if if I put the number this way, 1, 2, 3, 4, it will be considered as a number. It will be considered as a string. Sorry, not a number because it is in between quotes. So if I try to add this with something, it will not get added because 1, 2, 3, 4 is not a number, it is a string. Now, if I have to add this, yes, if I have to add this, I have to convert it to number first. So for that, you need to add the function value, yeah, of V12, which is a string. I'll close the bracket and then I can add it. Yes, I'll just remove the quotes. Yes. So here you will see previously it was not getting added because it was a string. Yeah. Now it can get added. Yes. So if I want to get a value of a number, a date, yeah, it will provide me accordingly. So anything like date, time, and numbers can be converted into a value. Yes, very clear. If I try to get a value of a string, it will come up with an error. Here, if I try to get a value of Google or love, yeah, it is a value. It says me value parameter love cannot be passed to a number. Yeah. Now suppose I have a date. Suppose I have a date over here today. So today is 24th of Feb 2024. And if I want to get a value of date, value, I'll say date, and the value would be 45346. So the date is represented in a number format in this way. Yeah. So this is very useful why it is useful in a practical scenario, because when you're trying to work on numbers, at times you come across IDs or any kind of numbers like amount. Like if I have sales, some people like to mention it like this: 20 million. If they have to write it 20 million, they add a comma. Yeah. So this is how they write. Yeah. Now, if I try to add this value, now if I have 20 million and here as 30 million, if I try to add this value, it will not add. If you see sum, it will give you 0. Yeah, because this is not a value. So I have to get it converted into value first, and then you can add them. Yeah, so that's a practical scenario of using value at any point of time. Yes. Now you need to have some important things to note is like value returns a pure number, even if the argument to the function was interpreted as a data, which I have shown you right now. Yeah. So by default, it will always show you an integer. Yes. Let's go to a last function for today. So the last function is exact. What exact does is compares two values and check whether those are same. So if I say exact, so this will check whether two strings are identical. So what is the uh, syntax? So I'll say is equal to exact, open the brackets. I'll select the first value, like suppose I'll select Google, and I'll select Google, which is in capital letters, and I'll close it. Yeah, it is telling false because it is not at all exactly same, because this Google is in small letters and this is in capital letters. Let's try with the Google which is available in D1 and Google available in D4. So let's try that D1 and D4. Yes. So this two Google that we are trying to compare. Yes. So the value that are available are exactly matching. Please be very careful when I'm talking about any value being exact. It means that each and every alphabet has to match with the other cell and its characters as well, whether it be upper letters or lower letters or small letters, capital or small letters. Yeah. So exec requires the two strings to have the exact same characters, including identical case, identical spaces, or hidden characters. Anything in that particular cell has to exactly match. Then only come, it will return you as the value to be true, or it will always return the value to be false. Yeah. So that's it for today. I hope you'll use these functions in your data cleaning activities that you have to do on text. Yeah.